Here we are. Here we are. Boom! You like the countdown stream? Sorry, I couldn't figure out the music. But we're here now. Hello. Here we are.
Hello, everybody.
Here we are. Oh, I need to turn Boom! Off. You like the count? I'm listening to my stream. Okay, boom. That was awkward. Slight echo. Now we're done. Joey D's in Dallas joining us.
I am. I got the setup here, man.
Yeah,
he's
dedicated.
Brought a webcam. I found a headset that was in my garage, and I was like, that'll do. So I found that.
Perfect.
That worked out real well. But yeah, man, I'm in Dallas already. We had the Years of War event, but now we have the CWL event coming up. And
oh, yeah, baby.
to me, that's the big one, baby.
Oh, I'm so excited for it, man, especially with the pools that got announced and everything. It's just so much hype around this event. Finally, we're going to see this game on the local area network. No more excuses. No more BS. The rule changes came in that the pros actually voted on, so there's no reason for anyone to be complaining about anything. Best team will win. I'm pumped.
I am too. I mean, yeah, this has sort of been – we've been waiting a long time for this event. I mean, everybody's been very excited. There's obviously a lot of changes. The boots on the ground, how are players going to adapt. You've already sort of seen teams struggling. Some teams in the pools people didn't expect at all. Teams back on the come up, TK for example. I'll see how they will play in Dallas. But besides probably champs last year, this is probably the most excited I've ever been for an event.
Back on boots, man. I can't wait
exactly.
To see.
Like I just want to see how much
there's going to be
change.
So many stories, and that's something we struggle with at times. But I feel like with how dramatic of changes with some of these teams stepping it up in the 2K, faces that we haven't seen do well and get good placings in 3-4 years at this point, finally getting back into the scene. We're going to see old faces, we're going to see new faces, and who knows what the top eight's going to be. We'll probably have a decent prediction, but I feel like there are going to be those probably 2-3 teams that make it in there that are unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like Vegas last year, like there was Allegiance was 4th. You had Rise obviously win. You had Cloud9 2nd. I think was 3rd E6. No, they got 5th, 6th, but that was another team who that was sort of their comeback to an event last year. So first events, man, I mean, Pat, he's always gets the finals of his first event. We hate talking about it, but it does happen.
It's factual, yeah.
I mean, first events are special. But yeah, I say we jump right into. You want to talk about pools first?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we had the pool draw last week.
Bang.
We have pool A. You got the pool A graphic up.
We just got the whole graphic up.
All right, so we have Optic, E6, Unilad, Envy. Some people were calling this one the pool of death. I don't think that's the case, but this is a very strong group. Obviously, Optic, and I think the big thing with Meaty is Optic last year, like the beginning of the game, they didn't seem motivated, right? Like they just weren't enjoying playing. It took them, 2 events or 3 events to even win. They won ESWC and then they won Dallas, but they lost Vegas. They lost at Atlanta. Meanwhile, Atlanta, they did have an amazing run, but they did lose to E United. But it's a completely different story right from the get-go. They're dominating 2Ks. You see the players tweeting about their winning S&D championships, and that's what's important to me. S&D is so important in the first event, and they're just covering every single step that they need to.
100%. I agree with you. Going back to last year, just a lot of excuses. Scump had one of his worst events in recent times at that first event going back to last year. I don't think that's going to happen again. And we talk about it being a bad event. It's not like he had poor stats by any means. So I think you're completely right there. A full gear going to be coming out of Optic in this one. A pretty well-rounded group, though. I don't know how Unilad's going to be able to perform. I haven't been able to see a decent amount of gameplay from them. I feel like it's just they have a really tough stack in this one. But we don't really know how E6 and Envy are going to perform. My gut feeling says Envy's going to come out of this second almost no problem. That's what I want to say. But, man, I really don't know. Especially with vetoes, maybe teams are going to have certain strategies in place to try and counteract some of the better maps of these guys. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think the most surprising team and sort of the wild card team to me is E6. I mean, they've been playing well. I think yesterday they actually lost pretty early on in the 2K, really showing like their first sign of weakness. But besides that, they've been consistently top 8. They typically Enigma 6 does pretty well online. They've always been sort of known as a team that performs better online. When you get to LAN, you're just not sure. We haven't really seen, General and his guys perform at the highest level. A few times, but not very often. And then all these players, we just don't know much about them. They don't stream much besides General. Don't have too much on Bevels or Decimate.
Yeah.
We have a little bit on Dashy. We saw glimpses of greatness last year, but all four of them as a package, we're just not too sure yet. My gut feeling says they lose a close one to Envy.
Yeah.
But they have sort of the talent, and I think as most of those guys were S&D stars, they should have that game type like covered up pretty well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It should be Envy versus E6 to get this second place spot. I wouldn't be surprised if they do take Envy in a map 5, though. You look at an E6 squad like this,
Yeah.
they're going to be damn good in Search and Destroy. I feel like the rise of the S&D stars this year is going to be a story with one of these teams that have, put a lot of faith in these new players that are finally of age and are trying out Variant for the first time. Would I bet on it, though? Probably not. I think Envy's just going to take it. It's going to be the boring Optic Envy finish.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, Unilad, I want to pull for the Twins, Moose, Shawnee.
Yeah.
I think they
Good
have
squad.
the potential. Yeah, I think they have the potential to maybe upset like an E6 or an Envy like early on in a tournament. I mean, we saw last year, like when teams had bad Fridays, they had really, really bad Fridays. Like
True.
Rise pops up in my head a few times. And those first days, man, like they can be tough. So if Unilad can have a good Friday,
Yeah.
it's hard to say that they'll do it because this team, those other three guys, just skill wise, I think you have to favor them. But I could see them upsetting a team and maybe just giving someone a very awful day, like if Envy or E6 sort of loses to Optic that first match, whatever the schedule is yet, and then they have to face a Unilad.
Yeah.
It could be tough, but I think I agree with you. Optic, Envy, top two. Envy should take care of business. Again, they've been pretty inconsistent online, but
Right.
that roster, they should be able to finish it.
The
no
whole
problem.
scheduling of thing, too, is so important going into tournaments. Like, if you pull your first match of the tournament and you have to play Optic right away and you get smashed, that can really be bad for your confidence right away. If you get one of these more competitive matchups, not saying Optic's going to completely smash them. I think all the matches in this pool are going to be, somewhat close, but realistically, Optic should beat all these teams 9 times out of 10, I would probably say. So if they face up, you get that E6 versus Unilad matchup right away. Mm-hmm. You never know. First match of the tournament, anything can happen, especially first LAN match on this game.
Yeah, and obviously it's sort of the key matchup to me. Like the matchup we all want to watch is Optic versus Envy. How good is this Envy team going to be? This is their first test as a squad. You have Hook and Temp coming back. Slasher has
Jack,
all the
thanks for the
guys
raid,
he
bro.
wants. Classic has been one of the most consistent players these past couple of years. And then you have Slasher, who at times Slasher was hard carrying Envy at certain points. So I'm excited to see what they have. Again, online it hasn't been too great, but I always see them like losing game 5s. So we'll see if they can put it all together. But this Group A should be very entertaining if Enigma 6 and Unilad sort of show up.
For sure. Like you said, people were calling this a group of death. I don't really agree with that. I think once we get down to D, that's the one I'm going with, D for death.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, still very, very solid group from top to bottom. And I think the whole year is going to be like this, just how competitive each one of these groups are from top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we agree. I think Optic takes it, no problem.
Yeah.
Second place, I think we're both agreeing on Envy.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if like an E6 took it. But yeah, I think Optic and Envy get out of this. All right.
Yeah, Envy or E6 for sure.
Yep. Pool B?
Pool B.
This is a different one. So you have Luminosity, Ground Zero, Vitality, and Epsilon. Luminosity has been really, really good this year so far off the start. They seem to have no problems every single weekend except for like Optic. That's really the only team that has trumped them over and over again. Everybody else, they're always in the semifinals or in the finals of a 2K. I think top to bottom, this roster is just so well-rounded. I think one of the things that I was thinking about was like Octane. He was one of those players that has at times been really, really good, and then he sort of has a falling off period.
Yeah.
And I think that's just due to consistent play styles, sort of his teammates. And I think Cat brings that more consistency to him. Like he knows where he has to be at all times. Nothing's going to change around him. And that should allow him to excel throughout the entire year.
Oh, 100%. LG's been quite consistent. You look at the roster that they have now, they should be consistently in, well, if they keep playing the way that they've been playing online, should be a consistent top three throughout the year, in my opinion, unless some of these roster changes go down. Man, I feel like Cap is just going to be a different player in this game. We've touched on this a little bit already, and I feel like these guys don't have a weak link. Not saying, it couldn't happen where one of these guys do have a bad game on the slang category, but from top to bottom, they should be a top hardpoint team. Their Search and Destroy looks quite good. They've been able to clutch a lot of maps from what I've seen from them streaming throughout the 2Ks, and you can't really say that about a lot of teams. They have that clutch factor, it seems, and that's so damn important, especially going into the first event. We're going to see a lot of series go to map 5. Yes, we've seen it in the 2K due to online host battles going on from time to time, but I feel like it's a combination of that and teams just not really having a consistent style on a lot of maps, especially in Search and Destroy, and that's why we're seeing so many map 5s.
Yeah, and you touched on it earlier. I think vetoes, you're going to play your best maps or try to get to your best maps, so that's where you have those consistent play styles. It doesn't matter. You're always going to have a weak map or two. Yeah. Sometimes people just don't get it, or you as a team just can't understand it, and that happens. There's just some weaknesses, some flaws, but with the vetoes, we'll see how that sort of plays out. But Luminosity, I think, easily takes this group. They've just been consistent all the way through. And then up next, we have Ground Zero. And this is another interesting team, a team on the rise, a very good online team. Besides that, we're not too sure how they're going to play just yet. I mean, you want to pull for these guys. Obviously, Parasite's had a great return here. Study is where he wants to be on a very competitive team. And then you have Pharaoh and Blastful, and I'm super excited to watch those two play.
Oh, for sure. Going to be a very exciting roster to watch. And you touched on it in Pool A of having a good Friday. I feel like out of all the pool teams, this is the team that needs to have at least a decent enough Friday. We've seen them have issues within the team, arguing and whatnot early on in online practice in some of these early 2Ks. A roster change already happened with this lineup. They need to have a good day one, because if they don't, I feel like they're not the strongest minded individuals, and this is I don't know some of the players that well.
They
but
tilt.
They just tilt off the face of the earth, man. So. They could really fall off quickly, and it's not like Vitality or Epsilon are going to be, weak links in this pool either. I'm very excited to see how Epsilon's going to play at this event. Did they make a roster change, or is it the same lineup from last year?
It's the same lineup. It's still it's not. Josh is gone, and then they picked up Insanitized.
Okay,
but supposedly he's changing his name to, maybe it's just Nathan now. I think I don't remember. I think he changed his gamer tag. Because that name was tough to see, but we'll see at Dallas. Obviously, the core three are still there, and Dave, Vortex, and Hockey, who we thought last year was going to be. We were just hoping that they were going to show up, and at times they did, and they had they were known for their breakout hardpoint and how good they were on that map. Mm-hmm. They had some solid performances, but nothing to the extent of their Black Ops 3 World Championship performance, where they got top 4 or top 6, I forget what it was, where they really broke out. I think the two North American teams sort of handle this. Vitality is a team. I think again they're in a semifinal. In the 2K, they're in quarters. So they're still performing very well. To me, we just haven't seen a French team play that well on LAN in a very long time.
Completely agree with you. On the Epsilon side, it's sort of the question. Dave was kind of the hard carry throughout the entire last year. Yes, it was Jetpacks. Yes, it was IW. But the guy was so damn inconsistent. Definitely in the argument for being the best EU player that we had in CWL, in my opinion. He was just so damn good, right?
No,
is he going to be able to
the numbers he put up?
Oh, it's insane. Just really put his team in the backpack a lot of maps, but. Will he be able to do that again? Will Hockey and Vortex be able to step it up even more? Not saying they had a bad year last year, but I guess it was more on the average side, if I had to say it. So going to be interesting to see how they bounce back, and then if Vitality can make some of these games competitive as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Vitality, I've watched Whaler stream. They're always in a team house. It seems like they have a very solid team structure. But at the end of the day, I just think they're simply going to be outclassed by guys like Luminosity and Ground Zero. And even Epsilon, I think they got knocked out early in this 2K, but the past couple, I think they've just lost to Splice.
Yeah.
So they're always in sort of the mix. They just lose to Splice, who we know is the best team in Europe right now, or one of them alongside Red Reserve. But yeah, I think this pool, this is tough. Luminosity for sure, and I'm gonna go Ground Zero.
Yeah.
But like you said, if Ground Zero has like a bad first match, I could see them tilting and it being so tough for them to get back in. But from the Parasite that I've been watching, and he's doing this online, he should be just as good, if not better, on land.
And this is just speaking from Boots' experience. Granted, this goes back years and years ago. But whenever we would play, I don't know if you agree with this, but when we would play EU teams on like Hardpoint, for example, or maybe even CTF, they had a way different style of playing Boots. Even Search and Destroy at times, they play a lot faster than we would traditionally on Search. So I wonder if anything like that is going to come into play once again here on World War II. It might. Teams seem like they're more prepared from top to bottom. At this moment in time, but you never know. When you're not practicing consistently, like in the 2Ks or in scrims and things like that, you can get caught off guard early. So wouldn't be surprising if like Ground Zero, for example, gets caught off and loses a hard point really bad to start off, tilts off the face of the earth. Haggy starts complaining about everything. Who knows what could happen. But from what I've seen, Ground Zero has impressed me. I'm going to give them the credit in my prediction and put them number 2.
Do they beat Luminosity?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
No, I think LG's too strong.
Yeah, and I think what you were stating too. I think on the flip side, while Europeans typically have a very aggressive like search and destroy style, their respawns early on in the year, and this is something we talked about the past couple of weeks, is typically Europe needs an event or two to catch up, especially in respawns.
Yeah,
that excuse is gone. It's out the window for me. But we could easily see it happen here to a team like Vitality and even a team like Epsilon, like Luminosity and Ground Zero. They just seem to be so consistent and further ahead, even in North America. I expect these two to get out, but I can see the experience of Epsilon sort of setting in. But I just haven't seen enough from those guys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's all I got on Pool B. Should be straightforward. But like I said, those bubble 2 and 3 teams, probably in all these, are going to be pretty damn close.
Yeah, that sort of matchup for second and third has been pretty compelling. But to me, Pool B is probably the weakest. I think Luminosity and Ground Zero should be able to handle business.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on. Pull this graphic back up. Walk us through Pool C.
So yeah, Team Caliber coming in number 1 seed. You have Red Reserve at number 2, Rise at number 3, and then the APAC Lords themselves, Mindfreak. Team, you won't believe this. They lost at 2K.
They lost.
They lost at 2K. We'll get to that, but they actually lost at 2K.
Okay, here, hold up. Before we move on, just a little snippet on this 2K seemed weird in all regions. Do you think
super weird?
Do you think it's the matter of, hey, I made pool play for Dallas.
Pressure's
I'm
off.
good. I'm chilling. You don't have that same pressure, that back against the wall feeling. You think that's it, or you think it's just a weird week?
I get where you're coming from, but I would hope that's not the case because these pro points are still super important for their pro league qualification. But yeah, I mean, I could see it. Like maybe they're just not as focused, and an early team sort of because last week they couldn't allow a team to beat them in the round of 32 or the round of 16. They had to get further and further. They needed pro points. So yeah, I could see that where they're just taking the team a little bit too lightly. I would hope not. I mean, there's cash money on the line, like you're trying to win. But yeah, that again, like you said, you're in pools, you're relaxed. Probably just a super weird week though, man. Like in every single region, it's crazy. We'll get to it, but
for sure.
There are some weird teams right now.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Anyways, back on topic to the pools. We got TK, Red, Rise, and Mind Freak. Joe, what are your thoughts on TK? Are they the real deal here, or are they onliners? How do you think they're going to do with Dallas?
I'm not buying into them yet.
Really?
I'm not buying into them.
No? You got them. What's your prediction for the whole tournament for TK? Putting you on the spot.
I got them 7th, 8th, I think.
Okay.
But I don't think they get out of pools.
Ooh. So
I think Red Reserve and Rise get out.
Okay.
And it's not. I'm impressed by their top 4 consistent placings in the 2K. I think they lost last night in like a game 5, but they're competing very well. I'm not sold quite yet. I need one like top 6 or top 8 finish at LAN where I could say, all right, these guys are the real deal. It's too hard, man. Like, dude, last year these guys they weren't there. They weren't in the picture. Like, I get the game has changed, but they were still competing. Maybe not Kenny, but those other guys, they were competing, and it's just such a drastic change to where I can't buy into him yet. I really want to, and I hope they do well. Obviously, when you watch Kenny, if you watch his point of view at all, he looks amazing. He looks like a star. Chino, I've talked about it. I've always sort of rooted for him. Accuracy in theory, they've had their good times and they've had really, really bad times in the past couple of years. Just haven't been their years. So I want them to do well, but I as an analyst, I just can't buy into this team yet.
Man, I think I have to agree. And it's just like the fact that these players, man, it's so tough to take jetpacks and like bring it over, but I feel like land is land to a certain degree, and the fact that a lot of these players haven't been in that environment for quite a while, or they've been in the environment, but they haven't had the success, right? So it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if like Kenny and Chino come out and just are mopping people and they do just fine, but they're gonna need a superstar performance from one of those two people, in my opinion. Accuracy's been quite good online, so I feel like if I had to pick someone out on the lineup, it's gonna be Theory. He's gonna have to be around that 1.0. He can't have those massively negative games.
And here's the thing: when you look at this pool, Red Reserve, I'm all in. This core three, they've made a COD Champs final. You had Zero, who was one of the best players in Europe. They should make it. The only reason they don't is if Joe is the worst player that we saw last year during Stage 1 or Stage 2, when he just had one of the worst individual performances ever. It's the only way it doesn't happen. And I've been very critical on Joe in the past because of those past performances, but I think the other three, they should be able to take care of business. And I really do want to see Joe on sort of a boots on the ground game because he's a very sneaky player. Rise, I just like this team. They pick up TJ. I still like the core three in Felony, Looney, and Aqua. Yeah. I think Aqua, again, we've talked about it, is so darn good, and they have the experience. Again, this was a team, and I just touched on it. Last year, their Fridays, they were either for the most part, they were super cold on Friday, and they set themselves up for failure. After Vegas, like I think it was Atlanta, and they had like an easier pool, and they go like 1-2 or 1-3, and they put themselves in a really tough position. Like if it wasn't for Vegas, they almost wouldn't have made Pro League. Like it was super close. So I just think this team has it, but their Friday has to be good enough. I think just like Ground Zero, the guys on this team like Felony and Aqua, if it gets bad, it can tend to get really bad. But TJ, can he be the sort of consistent player that they need?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going with the two red teams. I'm going with Red Reserve and Rise.
I respect it. It's good points.
Yeah.
How do you think Mindfreak's going to stand up in this group?
It's just a tough group.
It is really tough.
I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be better.
I just think they're going to be behind, man. It's just they don't get the same quality. They're beating up on these teams in the same region over and over again, and it's like I guarantee the third through sixth seeded Australian or APAC teams, are playing the same level of speed of Hardpoint, the same level of strategy and search and destroy. I think they're going to be fine talent wise, but it's just tough.
And what's interesting too is last year when they made the transition to drop Excite and pick up Dens, we didn't see the best performances out of Dens, right? Like
true,
he was hard carrying other teams to beat them, and we didn't really see that hard carry. So I'm really going to be watching out for Dens and Fida because I think those two are the sort of superstars on this team. Shocks just sort of fills in. While he does have good performances at times, he's sort of one of the entry guys with Fida. And then Buzzo. I mean, we know how important anchor battles are on boots on the ground, but this game should favor his style. Just super slow, play his positions well. When you're playing, if your team's rotating and you're able to play the power positions as an AR, the game comes really easy to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I did it for a very long time. You just post up and wait for people to sprint at you. So if they're playing correctly, he should do just fine. But the past couple of years, well, just really last year, just wasn't his game. Can I see them winning a match? Yes, but I don't see them getting out of pools.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good call. I'm taking Rise TK.
Rise TK.
I'm taking Rise and TK. I might make some EU people a little bit angry with that.
That's all right. I'll make it Australians mad. That's fine.
But yeah, I think that's what I'm going with. I think TJ is going to be an absolute beast this event. From what I've seen from him, he brings that level of aggression that this Rise lineup has needed. I feel like Vicento was a good strategist and a good leader for this team, but I think that roster change is going to benefit Rise in the long run when they do go up to those, the big boy matches where you have to just drop those 40 kills if you need. Like, he's one of those players that can pull one of those out.
Yeah,
TK, I'm putting a lot of stock into Kenny and Chino. I think one of these players is going to be in that top 5 to top 10 KD category and just carrying a lot of the load in respawns. And I hope they're just not being onliners. That I'm putting some stock in them.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, again, we just haven't seen these four in a long time. So I give you props. I want to buy into them, but I just can't right now.
All right, I will. You won't. You're taking the Red and Rise. I'm taking Rise and TK. Cool.
All right, I got a question for you, T.
Okay.
Where does Mind Freak finish in the tournament? Now, they're starting in pools, so I believe the worst they could finish,
top 24.
24, yeah.
I'll give them. So it goes from top 24 to top 16.
Top 24 to top 20.
I'll put them top 20. I think they win. I think they lose in pools. Mm-hmm. They win a match. They get knocked.
Okay, I think that's reasonable. Yeah, I'd probably say either that or top 16. That's where I'd put them.
Yeah.
And top 16 would be good for them because there's so many good teams.
It's such a guess because they could go and get an easy couple of, or easier, I will say, not easy, an easier couple of matches if they drop down and get some favorable matchups. They could very easily even pop into top 12. But you got to do all. You don't know how the bracket's going to play out in that loser bracket after pools and who's going to drop from the winners and yada yada yada. So.
But the thing is, right? It's like looking at these pools. There's no like easy pool. Maybe B. Depending on Vitality and Epsilon. Then we're going to talk about open bracket soon. Yeah. And the teams that don't make it to pools but like go through the losers bracket, that's who they're going to face against, and that's no easy competition. Like I feel like while there is still an easier bracket, the competition is so tough right now. Like we have 16 teams right here.
Yeah.
And I guess you could argue maybe Vitality isn't quite there yet, maybe Mind Freak isn't quite there yet, but for the most part these are damn good 16 teams. And then there's so many who we still have to add on to. Like we have a good like 25 teams, in the world who could probably beat one another. So
yeah,
it's super tough.
I'm gonna ask the hard question too. How many teams in the open bracket right now do you think are better than like Vitality or Mind Freak or you know what I'm saying? Like you could maybe say a few. So that once we get to the champ bracket, every game should be really really good.
Really good.
It's going to be dope. All right, you going to move on?
Yeah, to the death pool.
Death pool. D for death.
Yes.
It's scary.
So Splice, number 1 out of EU, so they get the top seed. E United, they win last 2K, and thank God they did because they just got 16th again. So they have 3 top 16s and 1 win in a 2K. So they got a 4 through 6 seed in North America. You got Ghost, who has been consistently placing well, always in the top 8 range. I don't think they've ever really gotten like upset either. It's always like they lose to somebody in like a game 5. And then Evil Geniuses, who sneak in, man. They get that last spot.
Yeah.
But did they get punished for it? I mean, they got a super tough pool. But I mean, last week we weren't even sure if they were going to make pools, just because of what needed to happen, and luckily every single thing happened for them. But top to bottom, this pool is absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely stacked. Who do you take here? Who do you take?
So, well, let's talk through it first, because I gotta talk myself into this.
I respect it.
So Splice, this roster should compete for like top 4, top 6 all year long.
Yeah.
To me personally, I think all the core 3 with Bance, Jerd, and Mad Cat are so good. They add Tommy, who before last year was exceptional. Black Ops 3, they won both stages. Obviously Swanee couldn't attend champs, so we don't know the potential of that Millennium roster and how far they could have done. But when Tommy and Mad Cat and Jerd are together, they typically perform very, very well. So they should just be fine. United, I don't know, dude.
Such a wild card.
3 top 6 teams and then they win a 2K. Like, bro, I am just not quite sure yet. I don't know. And then Ghost. It seems like Ghost beats who they're supposed to beat, and then they lose to
who they're supposed
what
to lose
we
to.
kind of expect to. They still haven't sort of broken into that top 4 range yet. Like, they're
Right.
losing to Luminosity and just, teams who I think they are the weaker team, but they beat everyone else that they're supposed to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
I'm just not quite sure if they still have the raw talent to get to the top 2. But I will say, Ghost, they did just beat EG yesterday in a game 5.
Yeah.
So that's a big win for them. Again, they face Luminosity tonight, and Luminosity has sort of been their kryptonite. And then EG. And EG, another, like, to me, it's just like United. Like, I just don't know what to expect. Like, those are the 2 wild card teams of this pool. Which United are we going to get? Which EG are we going to get? EG, we're basically blessed with this pool play spot.
Yeah.
They've had some tough roads in 2Ks, but, they beat FaZe in game 5, which is their second game 5 in a row with FaZe. And then they lose to Ghost, but I get the whole online, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
EG, to me, has to perform at this event. This is a very important event for me, for this team.
Yep.
I just think we've talked about it. Like, if these guys don't play well, this is another team where on Friday, if they start slow, like, they could tilt, right? Like, there's a lot of big personalities on this team. So if I had to take 2, I think Splice is getting through. It's the 3-on-A teams that I don't know. Like, I could see these 3 teams going like 1 and 2 and it coming down like a
Three-way
tiebreaker.
tie, totally. I love death pools, man.
I don't know, dude. What are your thoughts? Who are you thinking?
So team by team, I agree with you on Splice. This roster should be just set in a game like this. The top 6s all year. If they aren't, it's something internally wrong with them. Talent-wise, the way they stack up, they have enough experience. They have the confidence. They should be just fine. I agree with you. Splice should make it out. I'm going to go a little bit out of order. EG, what have they done so far?
Yeah.
Do they deserve, like, just purely prediction-wise? They could come out and do really well, but purely talking about recent results and prediction's sake, like, what have they done? Who have they beat to really get that respect for a prediction's sake?
Do they even have a top 4 in a 2K? I don't know if they do.
DG?
Yeah.
No.
I
Every-
think they have like 1 top 8 maybe.
And I, like,
2.
if you put this EG lineup in, like, a map 5 scenario on LAN, they'll probably beat a majority of teams, but can they get there? I really don't know. I think they're going to be able to do a lot better on LAN. The players have talked about the 2K's struggles for them have just been sort of like host battles going on from back and forth, but
they're also
Yeah,
they
it
have
happens with
the
every
training.
team.
They also
Yeah.
have the training facility that EG
True.
has.
so like how
so
much
they should be doing it right back.
that's what I'm saying, and the fact that they haven't been able to do it in any of the 2Ks is what is so scary for me. Ghost has had consistent results. They've gotten far in the 2Ks every single time. They sort of earn their spot. Granted, EG quote unquote earned their spot for pool play, but they got a lot of help. We could very easily be seeing EG in the open bracket if other teams didn't massively choke in the last 2K.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be after the first 2. Like, I just thought.
And then and then we've talked about how weak this FaZe team has looked. And EG's been having really, really close series with them. So is it FaZe not being as weak as we thought, or is it EG being weaker than we thought? You know what I mean? I don't know which way to go with it. I want to give both the teams credit, and I feel like both teams should be able to get a pretty solid placing in at Dallas, but I don't think they've really earned enough respect for me to predict them to do well in the group, unfortunately. So I think I just play the safe play and do Splice into United. United, what scares me, though, is their search is fantastic or absolutely horrible. And at first events, your search needs to be as consistent as possible. And when you talk about United, consistent's not the word you use for them. They've lost very, very, very close maps to lose series, don't get me wrong. but it's scary to pick them as well. But I think I take Spicy United 1-2.
Yeah, while you were talking, I agree with you. I bought into United when they needed to clutch up. They won the 2K.
Yeah.
I think this team probably preps harder than anyone. Clay always has some sneaky strats up his sleeve. I think the Twins will play just fine. The one thing I'll say, and I don't know if I haven't watched the past week, but the week before, Clay was running around with a sub. I understand in the finals he was wrecking, but I saw him struggle at times. And that's what you get when you get an AR player, because I did it, who transfers like map to map with an AR or a submachine gun. Super streaky, because when you pull out that sub, you just play so fast. You sprint around. You don't always play your life because you're not used to that play style. So I think that's a very important part. If Arceus is going to be that main AR across most of the maps, I don't know. They could have changed again. That is a huge sort of aspect, because then there's even more pressure on Clay, because he has to perform well and use a gun that he in the past, while he has had some great performances, he hasn't been as consistent as he has with an assault rifle throughout the years. I mean, he's one of the best.
I'll be the one to say it.
History.
When I watch Clay use a sub, I just kind of cringe inside. It just does. It's not right. Clay's one of the best ARs of all time. And when I see him being put in these scenarios where he has to, he does just fine. But if you had to pick Clay with an AR and Clay with a sub, it's an easy pick, right? So it's just like you're completely right. There's a lot of weird situations where, on St. Marie Hardpoint, it's like, am I going to take Clay as a third sub, or am I going to take a really good sub player most of the time? Like, let's just for a team's sake, like LG has 2 really strong subs. Does United have 2 really strong subs? I don't know. And it's going to create some weird situations, and that's what sort of forces them to use a third at times. It's just it could work. I hope they prove us wrong, but it's just weird is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and like we were talking about earlier, Ghost and EG, they don't have the results. United, while their other 3 results are pretty not good, they won a 2K. Which I must say, I pulled that one straight out of nowhere. I just said they were going to win it, and they won. And I guessed the finals, too. So I'm going to give some props to myself about last week. That prediction was on point.
I can't believe you nailed that so hard.
I nailed it, dude.
Unreal.
I got a huge jackhammer. I just shut it down. No, but yeah, I think that when it comes down to it, this team knows how to win. I don't know, man. This group, I could see like Ghost and EG even getting out if things go crazy. But
yeah,
I think the safety picks are Splice and United, just because, again, Ghost, we still haven't seen them be as good as they can be. Like, I hate bringing up like stage 2, but like when they went 4-0, I was like, holy moly, this team is good. And then, well, you know what happened on Sunday.
Yep.
So I know the potential of that roster, and then EG. I want to buy into this team. Of course, everybody does. Everybody wants to see Pat back, Enable, play very well. Apathy, he was on Envy. I mean, runner-up last year, winner the year before that. Of course, they have the talent to do it, but I'm just not sure what's sort of wrong with them to sort of be preventing at least top 4 finishes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just not getting there, and it's not like they have. It's not like they're running into an Optic or an LG.
Exactly.
They're losing the teams who I think this roster should beat, and they're not.
Yeah, you haven't seen EG just stomp people out. And that's kind of the stuff I look for, especially early on in games. It's like, have they really like very easily cleared out a series? I'm sure they have. I'm sure one of them will probably correct me if they're in here. But
yeah, Pilot touch you in 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, totally. But I don't know. I just can't really put a lot of faith with them. And then we didn't really touch on Ghost too much. I think they're just going to play all these teams so damn close, just not have quite enough to take series.
Yeah, it depends how clutch they get, right? Like they seem to go the distance. Like these guys are always in the fight. They're not winning it. Maybe this is an event that changes. Maybe they sort of break through that. I mean, I know they've had some connection issues and had to play at hotspots, whatever it is. Those are gone. But based off the past, looking at champs, looking at stage 2, when we saw them last, it's sort of the same thing. Like they're always there. Like they're a very tough team to beat, but they do get beat by teams that should. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm gonna go Spicy United.
Oh man, these pools are so juicy. And then
Uh-huh.
those don't even include who's gonna make it out of open, which is even
Right.
better. That's gonna like I wouldn't be surprised if at least two of these pools we have some sort of tie scenario, like with the teams that are gonna come out
Yeah.
of open just fired up and ready to go. Because we've talked about that a lot on the previous shows of how much of an advantage that is coming out of open into a pool. You have so many games, so many maps, and
Yep.
at this point and at Dallas, if you have 10 maps on land over your opponent, that's huge, absolutely
Plus,
huge.
plus you get to work the veto system. Like
Yeah,
a lot of times,
get in a
you'll
groove.
come to an event, right? Like I'm sure you could speak to this. I know I can. You'll come to an event thinking, "This is our map. We're really good at this one."
And then you
play it
suck
in a
at
couple
it.
of series, and
Yeah.
you're sucking. So you gotta adjust, right?
Exactly.
Like, oh, we're
Totally.
the best London Docks hardpoint team. Well, that play style and strategy you had going into it doesn't work on land. Like something's just not working.
Hmm.
So you have to make those adjustments. So you'll be able to make those adjustments. I mean, we've talked about it before. The open bracket is tiring, but you
Yeah.
gain so much momentum off it, just like we saw at E6 last year at Vegas when they made that deep run. So, yeah, let's. I think that's it for pools. Let's jump into sort of
Open
notable open bracket teams. Obviously, starting off with sort of the APAC teams, you have SYF, Excite, Atletico, Tainted Minds. I think it was Atletico. I think they just won it. Let me make sure. Maybe chat will correct me.
Was it SYF or Atletico?
Oh, SYF won, but Atletico
Oh.
beat Mind Freak.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I brought those guys up.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
you
yeah.
have Excite's team. So these guys have some heavy hitters that'll attend. SYF has been pretty consistent. I know Excite's team has been as well. So I'm excited to see what they do, but I want one of them to make it all the way through, but I don't think it'll happen.
Me neither, man. And it's always just, it's so grim talking about it. But when we're talking about these high caliber teams on the NA side, and we're barely putting them into like a top 12, top 16,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, well, where do the next people fall? And it's like it's in that top 20 to top 24 range. It's like, do you think even some of these teams are going to make it to champ bracket at all? It's like probably not. if you had to bet.
Yeah, and now we can go to Europe. This is where you get some more of the heavier hitters. I think like you have Giants Gaming. While people are like, who the hell is this? Like they're one of the best Spanish teams. They've been placing top 8 consistently in the 2Ks. They're in the fight. This is something we talked about. The French and Spanish are sort of back in the European scene. I think that's so important for them. On top of Giants, you have Movie Star Riders, who is another Spanish team. They've had like a semifinal and a top 8 finish, so those guys are very good. And then you have the sort of veterans that you expect. You have Supremacy, you have Millennium. Can Renegades pull anything out? I had high hopes for them. Like I thought they were going to fight for that 5th seed in Europe, but a lot of these other teams surprised me. Then you have teams like Infused, Excel, who are a little bit lower than those other guys, but I can see an EU team making a run, man.
I think one of them will, right? It's just
Yeah,
kind of
I
it's
think
just
one
kind of
gets
the
out.
way it's just kind of the way the open bracket works sometimes. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one of those teams make it into pools for sure, especially with how stacked the open bracket is. It's not surprising. Your webcam is down, by the way. You might need to refresh it real quick.
It went back.
Perfect. Joey D is back. He is handsome. Yet for open or not
No.
yet? Yeah, so we have no
Not
idea how those matchups are going to play off. Maybe you get those heavy hitter NA teams knocking each other into losers before some of these EU teams have to meet up with them, things like that. So you never know, and you'd think one of them would make it in.
Yeah. And then I think so too. It seems like they're motivated. Like I know like Marquis teams, they always play extremely well in the open bracket just because they want to prove a point that like they should have been in pools to start with. So we'll see. I definitely have my eyes on Giants, Millennium, and Supremacy to see how they do.
For sure. All right.
And then we have North
NA.
America.
A little bit beefier lineups here.
A lot beefier. So just off the start, you have Rocket Esports. This was the team that choked away their pool play spot. We talked about that last year. Nagafin in them. They're now on Next Threat. So Next Threat is Sensor, Naga, Methods, and Ricky. So they made a change there. Allegiance. This is a team
What do you think about that roster change? Next threat. You think it matters much?
I think it's good for next threat. I think it was good for Doug and Rick.
Yeah.
I think Methods and Nagafin, they seem to enjoy playing with one another because they've been sticking through all these team changes. So I think they might bring something a little different. Like, they were placing better than next threat, so they might have like some play styles and adjustments that they have that they can sort of help Rick and Doug. And you know how that is, like when you're getting information from all these different players and all these different teams, and then they're coming into one. I don't see them getting out of open, but I can see them placing like probably like top 32.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. I think Ricky should be a beast at this game. I said this in a previous show, but I think if some of these other, not necessarily top teams, but a little bit more upper echelon teams are looking for some talent for a potential roster change in the future, maybe look towards someone like him. But yeah, he can keep going through the rosters.
Allegiance, they're in it still. I mean, I know they just had a pretty big upset over, who was it? United. That's who United lost to in Game 5, and they're in the quarterfinals tonight. So they're back. I'm pretty sure it's the same roster from like champs. So these guys are still in it. So this is always a team that's scary. They do make open bracket runs. I'm pretty sure they got an open bracket last year. So this team has a lot of experience. They know how to deal with it. I could see this being a sleeper team who gets out. So they're definitely a team to keep your eyes on. Sinister is like the ex-road team that got picked up by Sinister. They also made quarterfinals. That's actually a quarterfinals matchup. So one of these two teams will actually make semifinals tonight. Because Sinister beat E6, or no, they beat the team that beat E6. So they took care of business, and they're in a quarterfinals matchup. So they'll face off against Allegiance. So one of those two teams will actually get top 4 in a 2K.
Ooh, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Good little confidence, too, going into the event.
Yeah. So these two teams, they have, Sinister's got our expander, Johnny, Stamino. They have experience. Like, it's not a team I want to play in the open bracket if I'm being honest.
Especially early on, yeah.
Yeah. So then we have FaZe, obviously. FaZe should get through. I saw on Reddit today, like, they're just getting stuck at round 5 or 6 in the 2K, and they've played, like, EG a couple times, and they lost to, like, what was it, Envy week 1, whoever it was week 1. They've lost to – it's not like they're losing to bad teams, and we've talked about this before. They're playing very respectable opponents. They're just losing them. And it seems like yesterday they lost to EG in Game 5, and supposedly in Game 5 they gave away, like, 2 1v2s or something, or 1v3s. Like, that just can't happen. So hopefully this is a team to me that's going to benefit from that open bracket run, like we were talking about. Just more reps for these guys, and it's a lot better for them.
I'm so scared for FaZe, man. I really am. I don't know. I really hope that it's just an online thing and they just get stuck at that, that seeding hole that happens at 2Ks. It happens to teams at times, but I'm really damn scared. I don't know if I pick FaZe.
Yeah. On paper, they should, right?
On paper, totally should. I'm so scared for them. Yeah. I don't know what's wrong. The team, if I had to pick the team that I probably had the most confidence in, I'm going with Team Canada or EchoFox for like most confidence. I think should get out almost no problem. Definitely, like those two teams, I think are just kind of stronger. They've had good performances. We've seen them beat some good teams in the 2K, things like that. EchoFox, not really as much as Team Canada, but both those teams should be able to win those big matchups. But
yeah, I think EchoFox won. Those two teams actually play tonight too. So the teams we're talking about, they play tonight.
Yeah, hopefully someone's streaming some sort so we can see. But we'll find out, I guess. Okay, if you had to pick 4 teams that go into pools, Joe, it's that time. Who are you taking?
Obviously, seeds matter. Like, these guys could play well.
Yeah, of course.
But if I had to take 4,
just off the top,
I'd definitely go EchoFox. I think I go Team Canada. Actually, I don't know if I go Team Canada.
Really? Okay.
I got to think about that one. I got to go with an EU team. I think one of those guys will just get hot, so I'll go with like a let's see here. I guess I'll pick Millennium, but
Yeah,
they've had
that's
some heartbreak runs where like they just haven't made it. But I know I just got the feeling that any team's gonna get out.
one of them has to,
So
right?
yeah, I'm gonna go FaZe, and then
So you have Echo Fox, you have
an EU team,
FaZe,
FaZe.
EU team, so Millennium, let's say, and Chad. Who you guys pick? Give me 4 teams you think are gonna make it.
I think. Is it gonna be Allegiance team? Are they gonna do it?
Dude, you got to think too. The players that made it out of open almost every single event last year, ALG they did that shit. They made it out of open a lot. Granted, it's a different game, I know, but still.
I think I'm gonna go with Allegiance.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
what I'm gonna take.
Okay.
Now
okay.
matchups could change. It could change things. Like
Oh yeah, once we
they
see
might
the
fake
bracket,
X, yeah.
our picks will definitely be different if we see the bracket. But
Uh-huh.
we're just going off the top right now. I'm going Echo Fox Canada, Millennium as well. That's who I was thinking, and FaZe.
You know, FaZe.
Yeah, if that's even possible. I don't even know if it is, but
Yeah. There's just always. I know there's gonna be a bracket buster of a team. There
Yeah.
always is. And if I had to pick like one or two, it's either Allegiance or Sinister, like that X-Rogue team, because I think they even made it out of an open bracket.
Yeah.
One team we didn't talk about, Air Eternity. Do you think they have a shot at all? Or Pure, which is like Neslo, Sharp, Stainville, Wheats. There's some other rosters. There's like Amity,
Air is-
which is
Air is
Diabolic, Happy, Mosh, Remy.
ooh, that's a pretty good team too.
Yeah, like
There's
like
some sleepers, bro.
There's like
That's a good point.
20 teams, man. That like they again. This is it's best of threes up until that last round where it is a best 5, but it's best of threes.
I don't know if I've seen enough improvement from Era. I watch them a lot. They're one of the teams
Okay.
I've actually watched probably the most.
They stream a lot,
They
yeah.
have multiple players streaming. I get to see different POVs. I get to see how like Rallied's improving, things like that. I don't know if I've seen enough improvement. Granted, it's online. I could always be proven wrong. This is just purely, from what I've seen so far. I don't know if they're quite there yet to make it into pools. Do I think they're gonna have a good run? Yeah, probably.
They're like a team who will like beat someone and then lose like the last round.
Yeah, totally.
So open's scary. I would not want to be open at all. There are a lot of, just the teams I
So
have
scary.
listed, which is like 4 or 5 APAC teams, like 10 EU, like 15 NA teams that are pretty much notables. It is a scary open bracket, that is for sure.
It's gonna be dope.
All right, last but not least, and we can fly through these pretty much because we have about, we're pretty close to 2K time for North America to where they pick it back up. We'll just run through the 2K so far, guys, if you haven't kept up with it. So APAC didn't win. SYF did. So that's a pretty big. To be honest, it's kind of a big deal in the APAC region. So SYF is back-to-back Eminence, Killer Pirate, and Tyson. But it's a pretty big deal. We talked about it. They don't have much competition, and they got beat. So maybe it's there now. Maybe we fired some people up. I don't know. Way to go, team. We did it.
Yeah, we did it.
But
Pissed
that's
them
a pretty
off.
big deal in APAC. Europe is weird, dude.
Super weird.
Super weird. So Splice and Millennium lose. Giants and Vitality are top 8 once again. Epsilon loses 3-1. Supremacy 3-0s Unilad. Red 3-0s Renegades, which is a given. The only team that we know for sure who has won a 2K is Red. Let me go check the bracket and see if anything updated. So I know there was one semifinal, which was, let's see. So you have Giants and Supremacy in one semifinal, which nobody expected that.
Yeah.
Then on the other one, you have Vitality and Red. So Red should take care of business. They should win this, but a very weird 2K overall. Just a lot of upsets. But yeah, we talked about it earlier. This was just a weird weekend. Maybe it was just because teams were comfortable after making pool play. North America, there was a few weird games. Optic and Luminosity cruise. They handle business as always. NV beats Rise 3-2 in a game 5. E6 loses 3-1. No, I think like Brian Saint's team, which then they lose to Sinister, which is how Sinister made it.
Right.
United lose 3-2 to Allegiance, so Allegiance is in the quarterfinals. Echo Fox win 3-2 over TK. A big win for them.
That was a sick match. Echo Fox really pulled it out of their ass.
I think that was a reverse sweep, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was
So a big win. Saga, they win 3-2 over Ground Zero. A respectable loss for Ground Zero.
Yeah. Not surprising.
You know, that Saga or Team Canada, whatever you want to call them, they're a very good team. And then we talked about it. EG 3-2 over FaZe. EG lose 3-2 to Ghost. So, like we said, EG beat, and then they lose to Ghost, which I feel like they should beat Ghost, but Ghost keeps, again, they're a top 8 team again. So the quarterfinal matchups tonight. Optic versus Envy. Sinister versus Allegiance. Echo Fox versus Saga. And Ghost and Luminosity. And Ghost Luminosity last week was a game 5, actually. So
yep. Very, very close. Apparently Red lost.
They lost to Vitality.
Yes. No.
All right, so Vitality.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
So you're going to have... All right, well, that is a very weird European
what?
2K.
Is that like online stuff going on or what? This is weird.
I'm guessing so. I'm sure that's what everybody from the UK will tell you.
Yeah. True. All right.
So we'll actually see a Optic versus Envy matchup tonight. So that's a pool preview for us. So we'll have that data. I think Optic should win. I don't know though. They lost last week, but
yeah, true.
Yeah. Some good matchups tonight. Definitely.
Prediction time for the 2K. Joey D, are you gonna get it right again? You sexy man.
See, the thing is, I think whoever wins Optic versus Envy goes to the finals because they'll play Sinister Allegiance. No offense to Sinister Allegiance, but
I agree, though. Yeah, totally.
I think Optic gets to the final. I think they'll probably be pretty pissed off about losing last week. Who did they lose to last week again?
Optic lost to United.
United, yeah. So I think Optic will be pretty pissed off, and I feel like Optic just match up well versus Envy. So we'll see. Echo Fox for Saga. This is a super interesting one. I think this is like the best matchup of the quarterfinal, honestly.
Oh, for sure. Easily.
I'm going to go Echo Fox. I think this is just going to be another... Actually. All right, I'm going to pull something out.
Okay, Joey D. He's going after it again. What do you got?
I think Echo Fox Optic final. I think Ghost finally beats Luminosity.
Whoa.
Listen to this. Listen. I think Ghost finally beats Luminosity. It was in Game 5 last week. I think it's going to happen this week. Because every time, I mean, that's just the way we've seen it in like past Call of Duty history. Like when you've seen matchups over and over again, that team typically gets them sooner or later. So I think Ghost finally beats them. I think Echo Fox beats Saga, and then they beat Ghost. And then we have an Optic versus Echo Fox matchup, and Optic wins.
Dude, that's so specific, and it's not bad. I'm
going with.
I'm going final is going to be Optic versus... You had Optic Echo Fox final?
Yeah.
I'm going Optic Saga final. Team Canada is going to make it.
Saga? Huh?
Yeah. I just believe in Gunjar, really. He's a beast.
Yeah.
Gunjar and Royalty, I'm a huge fan of him. Optic Saga final.
I hope so, dude.
Optic smokes him. GG. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think whoever faces Optic gets 3-0. But I think it'll be a different team besides Luminosity that gets there.
I like yours way better than mine, but I'm sticking with it anyway.
Okay. That's why I just went with it, dude. It's just some weird things that are happening this week. Probably should have said Echo Fox would have won the whole damn thing, but we'll see what happens.
All right. What time is it? Oh.
Perfect time.
Oh, we're so good at this, Joe. I swear we get better each week. Chat, how are you liking hard points? Rate it 1 out of 10.
Oh, shit. I got the chat open. Let's see this.
We've got a few minutes until these maps start to get started up. I'm going to start keeping an eye out on anyone possibly streaming it, but it doesn't look like there is. So,
Mitch put 2 out of 10, so he's banned for life. Ban him.
Yeah, ban him. All right, we got some... Seems like the ratings are pretty solid on average.
We're doing pretty good.
Yeah, it seems like people like it. Man, we got Dallas coming up, baby. It's going to be exciting.
Yes.
If you guys got any questions, please make it easier for me. At me in the chat and ask your question. We'll pick out the best ones. We'll do this for about 5 or so minutes and then call it. So we stop it before the 2K matches get started. We already covered Ground Zero on LAN. You guys can go watch the VOD back. We covered Ground Zero a decent amount. Does Echo Fox
People love that team.
Does Echo Fox make it out of open bracket and pool play? Ooh.
We didn't think about that.
That's a good question. Oh, it totally depends on what pool they get slotted into, though.
So, yeah, the highest seed goes into Pool A. Echo Fox will obviously go up in seed because they got top 8 this week. I think if they get into... I don't know. From what I've seen, I don't think so. I'm just not too sure yet.
I'd say probably not as well. Moving on. If E United does poorly, do you think Clayster will move on? Oh, if it's multiple bad placings in a row. After one, no, I don't think so. But if it's like multiple...
Well, here's the thing, Teep.
What are your thoughts?
Here's the thing, Teep. New Orleans is for Pro League.
Oh, shoot. So, yeah,
right?
It would be
two events.
Yeah,
so
if they have a really bad placing, then yeah, that might happen. Shoot. It'd have to be like really bad, though.
Yeah. But what's really bad, like, is top 16? Like, if they get top 16, I think they do. I think something's not working. They need to change.
Totally.
If it's like, I think we said either Clayster leaves or Silly gets dropped. I'm not exactly too sure. Because the thing is with the United is somebody needs to run a second sub, so RCs and Clay can run ARs. That's just that makes the most sense. So if Silly's not doing a good enough job at running a secondary sub, or Clayster has to do it, I can easily see them trying to, like, what if FaZe does bad? Do they go after attach? I'm just saying.
There's a lot of like.
There's a lot
talent
going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know. We'll see. We shall see.
Okay, let's keep scrolling. Let's find another one.
That was a good one. Sheesh.
That was a good one. Very good talking point there. All right, let's do an easy one here. Top 3 in Dallas.
An easy one? What the
Super easy. Not.
I think Optic's too motivated for me right now. Every time I see them tweet late at night, they've won an S&D tournament, which I talked about. I think that's super important going into the first event.
Agreed.
I think Optic wins. I think Luminosity gets top 3, but I don't think they get second.
Okay.
I think someone else gets second, but I don't know who yet.
Like, yeah, someone cruises through losers and maybe like takes a series off them.
Yeah, like I think there's a few candidates. I think Splice could do it. I think Envy could potentially do it if they really get hot. Things start clicking. But I think for sure Optic and Luminosity, I think they've been too good. Yeah. They handle their business. I could even see a Splice or Red Reserve getting into the top 4.
Okay.
But
so Optic LG Splice, is that your top 3 pick?
It seems too easy, right, for the first event? It seems too easy.
That's who I would pick. I don't know if I take Splice.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna spice it up.
To.
I'm gonna go like maybe it is an Optic LG final, but I want to go like Optic Luminosity, like Rise.
Ooh.
It's a first event. There's gonna be someone weird. It's gonna be like Rise or Red.
It's gonna be weird.
It's gonna be weird.
I completely agree with you. So you're I like the Rise pick actually. That's a really nice one. Those dudes always sneak into a top placing. I respect it. All right, here's another one. Do you think score streaks are too easy to earn right now? What are your thoughts, Joe?
I don't think they're. So I think the fighter pilot is. I think it's the strongest streak in terms of that range. I don't have a huge issue with the glide bomb because typically a glide bomb is 1 kill, maybe 2. So here's the thing: if I'm Sledgehammer, right, the glide bomb and the fighter pilot to a normal player, they probably get a kill or 2.
Yep.
Right. So it's 600 and 650. But a kill or 2 in a 4v4 setting, it's different. That's super important. That allows a push.
Totally.
I think glide bomb's okay. I'm not. Maybe you bump it up to 650, right? Or is it already 650 and the fighter pilot's 600?
It's like
whatever it is,
625 and 650 or something like that.
whatever it is, I think you move. If I would move fighter pilot to 750 because pro players are just really good with it. Like it's just what it is. There are counters like wearing mountain. It's pretty hard to find players on the map
Yep.
or multiple players with a glide bomb.
Yep. I completely agree with you. I think the fighter pilot's way better than glide bomb. It should be a higher score streak than that due to the amount of time it takes to actually pull it up and start shooting. You cover more ground. It's a better score streak than glide bomb. It's faster. You cover more ground. You have more chance to get kills with it and multi-kills at that fact. So it should be higher. Completely agree. I think glide bomb should go up 50, 75, maybe 100 more points, and then fighter pilot like 50 more points above that. Completely agree.
And here's the other thing. The mortar strike is not good right now.
It sucks.
The one where you place 3 down is not good. They're obviously, from what I've played, they're singular missiles. So if that missile misses, it's not a kill. If I get 3 things, I want to put them on a map. I'm trying to blow everything up. You know, I want the ground to shake. I want you to be mad that I called in that mortar strike.
Right.
So yeah, I think if they were to buff that, like make that 800, and then I could have like a 650 glide bomb, like a 750 fighter pilot, and like a 800 mortar strike. That's what I would do. But yeah, the balancing of the score streaks is just really weird because I get it from Sledge's point of view. Again, a glide bomb and a fighter pilot are good for like, all right, if you get a good glide bomb off in a pub, it's like 3 kills.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that in a competitive match. You might get 1 or 2 kills, but that's super important. Fighter pilot, you could get 2 to 3. And the fighter pilot is the big one. It's super strong. Again, pro players know how to aim. You just put the dot on the red circle and shoot, and the fighter pilot has really good bullets. But yeah, I don't know if they necessarily have to touch a glide bomb, but I would definitely touch.
Damon made a really good point too, which.
But yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, those are some good questions. Thank
good
you
questions.
Guys.
Good shit stream.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you guys are working well tonight. I respect that. All right, so let's. I need to find someone to host with all you fine viewers. You guys want to watch? Is there anyone streaming the actual 2K? Is my first question.
Let's see.
I don't know.
Nadeshot's not. Someone said that.
Pander
what?
Oh, Pander. I think he's the only one.
Where is he though? How many viewers?
He's got 79 viewers.
All right, let's do it up.
I guess it's Pander.
All right. Stream.
Okay, that's it.
Dallas.
We're going to quick ad break because I'm greedy. And then we're going to host someone up. Bang. Ad break. Pop that on real quick.
And for those of you with ad block, we'll be back next week.
Ad block, yep, next week. We might have to take a week. Oh, shit. I'll let you know.
Yeah, it just depends on flights. Like if we have to push it to Tuesday, we can push it to Tuesday.
Yeah, it might be a Tuesday. Hard points, but it's going to happen next week sometime. Might not be on Monday, is what I'm trying to say, because
we'll have a ton of content,
things like that. So we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about because Dallas will just have happened. So things like that. Appreciate you guys hanging out with the stream. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. Thank you so much to Jack for the host as well. Most viewers we've ever had on this show. It will be going up on both of our YouTube channels. By tonight we'll get that uploaded as soon as possible from Twitch over there, so you can check it out on my channel, TPCOD YouTube, and what's yours, Merc or Handsome Gamer or something?
Handsome Merc, yep.
Handsome
or you
Merc.
can just do youtube.com/Merc.
Yep, there you go. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, guys. I'm going to host up Pander because he is going to be the one streaming the 2K. I don't think anyone else is, or not that I know of. So hopefully you guys enjoy the show tonight. We'll keep this rolling for you guys. We love that you guys are enjoying it. We enjoy it too. Thanks for stopping by. And everyone, enjoy the 2K and enjoy Dallas. It should be lit as hell.
See you then. Hopefully you see some of you there.
Yeah. Hit that follow button as well. That always helps. Helps a lot.
Sure does.
All right. Panderp. Copy that. /host. Panderp.
Derp.
Bye, guys.
Wow,
I love you. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bang. Host.